Okay, hello. I said okay as the first word again on the recording. Damn it. One of these days I'm going to open with a word that is not okay. But anyway, hi. This is another tune. It's my break-in word, I guess. It's a protective layer for my brain. Anyway, hello. This is another 12 frame per second Toonkind game. This time it is me and the lovely. Introduce yourself.
I'm Louis.
Yeah.
I'm the Tobias player.
Yeah, everybody loves Tobias. So yes, this is going to be one of several acting lessons because Calling All Stars was a riotous success. It was really, really good fun, and all the players were incredibly creative, and I loved it. And they all did really well, so they all get acting lessons with the engineer. And we thought it would be nice to actually do those because they all have different aspects about themselves that they want to improve and explore. That's great character building, so we're gonna do it. Gonna do it live. So this is another sort of. It's partially structured, but also very much not. So I don't know what's gonna happen. It's gonna be fun.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure everything's gonna be fine.
It'll be okay. Is there anything you want to say before we start up? Actually, yeah. Describe Tobias if people haven't listened to Calling All Stars, which they should have, because this will have spoilers for that, I guess.
Oh. So Tobias is a UPAN toon who can change colors based on his emotion, and is a big fan of the engineer and extremely glad to not be part of the team.
Yay.
And there'll be a picture. There will be a picture. I have drawn things. Everything is fine. I'm not anxious.
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Yeah. I'm not even sure if the engineer is even aware yet that Tobias is like a fan, so that's going to be interesting if we broach that topic with this egomaniac. Okay, without further ado, let's get into the game. So, Tobias, we are at Dodo Studios, which seems entirely natural because this is the engineer's working place, and I think he's been running like a couple of scenes with you, just like testing things out. And I think actually because the footage you guys recorded during Calling All Stars was so good that he's decided to do one of his sort of improv, make it into a movie, because hell, why would you waste all that amazing footage on just newsreels? So you've been doing scenes to like tie it all together to make something into like, you know, a presentable thing. So I want you to roll performance to see how you've been doing. And again, you get advantage on all acting performance rolls now because of your situation.
Yay!
Yay! Exciting.
Let's go. First roll of the day.
First roll of the day. Yes, we will put in some dice rolling, but this will largely be
16.
role-playing. 16. Do you want to roll again and see if you do better? 16 is not
We'll see.
bad. A 15. Okay, well, the dice know. It's decent. So, you know, you're not like barnstorming amazing like some of the roles you did for him when you were auditioning, which he is still impressed by. So, you know, he's content with what you're doing, but like it's not amazing, and he wants you to be amazing. So after the last scene, he's done the whole cut, okay, check the gate, we'll do all that stuff. But he comes up to you afterwards and is like, "Are you all right? Your performance is, well, it's all right. I know you're beginning a bit. Is there anything in particular that you were? Well, I know I'm like basically going to coach you. So is there anything about your skill set that I can help you with?"
Oh, I think alright. Well, actually, I do have something I would like to ask you about.
All right. What would that be?
Well, if you you've noticed, didn't you? I changed colors. No, of course you noticed. I changed colors.
Actually,
Oh,
that's a
God.
valid question. What colour are you at the moment?
Ooh, I did not think of it actually, but is purple again, but it it's a bit lavender.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the usual purple that the engineer could have seen all
Mm.
those times before. It's a bit lavender because you see, he doesn't really want to talk about this, but he knows he has to. But that's all you can see about this.
Okay. The engineer sort of scratches at the side of his face with a claw. He's like, I have noticed that. I actually think it's a highly desirable trait myself. You may understand that I'm biased in that regard, but I have mostly witnessed that you're, well, I glean that you turn purple if you're a wee bit scared or something. If me landed on your chest and yelling into your face last time was anything to go by, I won't apologise for that. I was in character. And the yellow, you turned yellow when you were feeling happy, I'm supposing?
Mm, yeah, 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 it's yellow.
Well, I mean, that's fantastic, but you brought this up as a issue that you want to discuss. Actually, come with me, and he leads you over to the B section of the studio. So the A part of the studio is where they do the majority of the active filming. The B studios for like keeping the sets ready for the A studio and for rehearsals. So like, there's no one back here basically. So he's like actually giving you some peace of mind that no one else is going to butt in, and the other owls are just like, yeah, off doing their own stuff. So, you know, he's now sort of looking at you expectantly, like hoping you would tell him more about this.
uh, you see, Tobias is still a bit hesitating about talking about it, but he resigns and he just starts spilling it out. And yeah, you've noticed, of course. Um, it's the thing. I don't like this. I don't like changing colors,
What you
and
you
I was
don't like
wondering if
change, but
you are
it's so interesting. Why don't you like it?
because well, you've shown it. You can tell what emotions I am just by looking at my colors. I hate this. The- I don't like people knowing what I feel like every day, every hour of the day. I no, I don't like this.
What color are you now? I'm gonna keep checking in on this, by the way.
Oh, he's starting to shift to a deep ocean blue,
Mm.
and he's still going darker.
Oh, because yeah, the engineer is curious about this and has sort of mentally been making a note of this. And yeah, he's tilted his head to the side and is like apparently thinking about this, and he's like, well, that's a shame. I can understand, but at the same time, I would have cited this as one of your strongest aspects. I mean, an actor that can literally show emotion in color. That's that's fantastic. I mean, I can understand in everyday life. I mean, myself, I tend to wear my emotions on my sleeve. I've never really been worried about people knowing how I feel. I think people like us have to basically own what we're feeling. There's no way around it. Short of cutting off all of your emotions and making yourself into a dead emotional space, which I do not want you to do. And he actually like sort of turns on you like, don't ever do that. And he's like, no, I don't think that this is something that I can help you with in your actual real life, because I don't think that would be good for you. On the other hand, in acting, I can see that, that could be a problem, couldn't it? Tell you what, hang on a moment. And he scurries off into the darkness, and you are temporarily left by yourself, thinking whatever you're thinking. What are you thinking?
Tobias is just looking around, like he's curious about what the engineer has in mind, but he he's still thinking about the fact that he spit out all his feelings about himself to his boss, basically.
Oh, bless. I want you to. Actually, no, I should. No, it's more fun. You do a
Hmm.
perception roll, I think.
Ooh,
This isn't even, like,
interesting.
necessary, it's just for flavour. It's more
Yeah,
fun
I'm
than
doing
just
it
saying a
anyway.
thing happens. A 13. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so yeah, you're introspecting quite a lot. You're still thinking about, this is quite a hard topic for you to broach with anybody, let alone your boss, and a very new boss at that. So you're fairly taken by surprise by a sort of shink, and a projector screen has come hanging down out of apparently nowhere, and then you hear as a projector turns on, and it is very, very bright, which is quite surprising. And he says, "Hang on, I've just got to find the which." I cannot keep all these canned reels in the same place. Nobody puts them back in the right order. Oh, there it is. Okay. And he scuttles out of the darkness and lands beside the projector. Apparently he's just, like, dropped from, like, somewhere above you, and this is completely normal. And he's got two film.
How did you get up there?
Yeah, he's got two film reels canned under his arm, and he's like, "Well, all right. So I'm gonna show you some examples of me change colors in some of my movies, and they're very different. They're two very different examples. So try to keep an open mind. But I think it might be insightful for you." And he's struggling with this film reel as he's doing this. Actually, can you make an insight?
All right. Okay.
Can you make an insight roll real quick?
Okay. 20.
Oh my gosh, it's 20. Okay, with a 20, you actually understand that he's a little bit shy.
Ooh.
This is very unusual.
That actually puts Tobias more at ease.
Yeah.
Like Tobias is starting to relax a little at seeing that the great engineer can actually be shy too.
Yeah. Because, you get it just from a very slight fumble, and he usually doesn't. Like, when he's handling films, he knows exactly what he's doing. And he's usually very confident and brash about things, and quite a show off about his acting history. So the fact that he's, like, a little bit, even just a little bit shy, is very surprising. But he puts in the first film reel and skims it forwards a couple of scenes. And you are a fan of The Engineers. This is actually a film that he appeared in that was directed by somebody else. He is a sort of a cameo in this. It's a film by Penguin Tarantino. Have you seen Reservoir Birds? I am asking Tobias.
I yes, I did actually. Yes,
Did Tobias enjoy
but
this?
so why this? Now he did see the movie, but it was a long time ago. He doesn't remember it much,
Okay.
so he was still fumbling. He's like, did I see it? Yes, I did.
Okay. Well, in that case, you have a little bit of a forewarning, because this is a very memorable scene. Because the engineer plays. This is Reservoir Birds, folks listening, which is a very obvious parody of a particular film. And he plays a cop who gets kidnapped and tortured, who is called Dash. And he has skipped forward to that scene. And he says, "Now, I want you to watch this carefully. Sorry if you don't like violence, but hey, it's the movies, don't you worry about it." And he plays the film, and he wants you to watch him, I suppose, very carefully. So, insight or perception, make one of those.
I'll go with perception. It's the same anyway.
Okay, 14.
Hmm.
Yeah, you pretty much, like, it's quite a graphic scene. It's quite hard to deal with, so you have to kind of get past that. So with a 14 it makes sense, but you do actually start to notice that when the impacts land on him, and actually slightly afterwards, there are subtle color changes to the engineer, and so you've probably seen the engineer get very cross in his films, and he famously sort of heats up and turns this amazing glowing color. This is more unusual because when he's being struck, he's like he gets little washes and like almost patches of grey. Like he desaturates when there's an impact, and overall he actually, there's a gradation in his color from the beginning of the scene to the end of it, and he is quite desaturated by the end of it as opposed to the beginning.
Oh, that's something.
So yeah, what does Tobias
Uh,
say in regard to this?
he doesn't say anything for a moment. Then he points on the little gray spots and just turns around to the engineer, like, "Oh, you choose to do this
Well, that's
on your own skin. You chose."
I didn't. That's the thing. I did not choose to do that, and that's something I want you to think about very carefully when I show you this next one, which is very different indeed. And again, with that 20 from before, you absolutely understand that he's embarrassed about this one. It's like not embarrassed, but he kind of is like reluctant to show you this scene. But he changes the film reels and he says, well, this is, as I said, very different. But this is another emotional colour change scene that is particularly successful. Hang on, let me get to the right part of it. Here we go. So this is a film that he made when he was about 39, and it was a raging success. Some people were very surprised by this film because the engineer isn't famous for romantic films, but this was kind of his answer to all the romantic terrible tragedy films that he finds very frustrating because the characters have no brain cells, and if they just talked about stuff, nothing would have to end in a tragedy. So this film is one of his genre twist films, like The Majestic 11, where it starts out where you think it's a doomed romance between these two cowboys who are already married and realize that they are profoundly in love with each other. But then they actually just kind of talk about it and then talk about it with their wives, and it turns into a rom-com halfway through the film, and by the end of it, like, everybody's kind of like, they get married and their wives get married, and it's great. So this is Brokeback Mountain, and he has skipped forward to this particular famous scene where his character, who is called, oh hell, what was the... Okay, yeah, he's called Mac, and the owl is called Ennio. And Mac is actually more of an aggressive character, so it's surprising that Ennio is the one who makes the move on him. And this is a very vulnerable, emotional scene. And the engineer, again, like, I'm gonna ask you to roll perception or insight, whichever you like. And again, they're the same, so it doesn't really matter. You're doing both.
Both at the same time.
Okay, 13. Actually, what colour are you watching this scene?
He turned dark pink
Oh.
immediately because he never saw the movie out. He's not much for romance movies, so he never saw it.
The engineer is like Spirit because he's sort of slightly hiding behind one of his hands. He's trying to be professional about this, but he's definitely, even if he had eyes to make eye contact, he would not be making eye contact with you right now. So you're both a little too embarrassed, and he asks like, "Alright, okay, let's just pause that. So did you notice anything particularly about that?"
He looks at the film for a moment, trying to remember some details because he does not want to see it again for Angie's sake. You turned brighter, didn't you?
well, yes, but here's something interesting, and I don't usually do this. And he winds the film back, and
Oh,
because he's being more scientific about it, he can actually deal with it the second time. And he's paused it on a particular frame, and as you can see, he is glowing, but it's very soft color, and it's oddly kind of peach color.
ah,
You've never seen him like dip into this rose colored sort of spectrum, which is very unusual.
and Tobias doesn't want to ask what it means because he hates when people ask what his colors mean.
The engineer seems to
But he's still wondering.
Mm. The engineer seems to take this cue, and again, he's not particularly looking at you, but he does walk over to the projector and just sort of gestures at it and says, "Now I want you to remember what you said about my other performance, which you asked if I was thinking about it, and I said I was not. I was not thinking about this. I'm not smart enough to change emotions by thinking about it. Nobody is. Nobody can do that, even if they could change colour. Like, most people cannot do that, and I would be very surprised to meet someone who could. But here's the thing: I am not in love with this owl, who is called Eric, by the way. Lovely fella. You'll probably see him around the place. Don't bring up this movie. We're both a bit shy about it, and his husband would probably kill me. Anyway, I was not in love with him. He was not in love with me. But my character and his character were both profoundly in love with one another. So, are you starting to see what I'm saying?
Hmm. So you you basically sort of become your character or something?
And again, he scratches at the back of an ear and he says it's not quite that. Because, when I tell you about my method of acting, I'm not talking about method acting. That's a road which is, I find, kind of dangerous. I've seen people go through quite damaging psychological journeys by trying to do that. So I'm not encouraging you particularly to do that. The thing that I say is that I don't inhabit my roles. My roles inhabit me. I'm still the engineer through and through, and I couldn't have done this film if I had to commit completely to being Mac. Like, if the engineer and Mac were the same person, I would have not been able to step back from these scenes and say cut and review them and then get back into character. It would have been exhausting and I would have had a breakdown. No, 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 no. I I can only explain it by saying that you sort of step outside of yourself and let someone else step into yourself. And it's them that does all the feeling. It's them that feels the pain of those chains that you start hitting me, but they were fake. But the emotional repercussion of the idea of being tortured, that was enough to do that to me because that character was in such a despairing place. And likewise with this character has had such an unhappy marriage, and then he's met this man who is everything to him, and he's not been able to express that, and then Ennio, actually does that. So he kind of deny the fact that he loves him in this scene, and that comes out visually. And I didn't ask myself to do that. It just happened because he felt that.
Hmm. Tobias has turned a light turquoise during the engineer's little speech.
That's interesting. And
he's not saying anything.
yeah, the engineer turns off the projector and winds up the screen, and it's rather grateful to be able to get rid of that visual because it is, it's a very vulnerable scene. Like, the fact that he's shown you that in person and discussed it is actually kind of a big mark of how much he respects you, Tobias. But he turns back on the lights and he sees this colour. He's like, all right, I've got to ask, what does that mean? What are you feeling right now?
What? It immediately turns very light blue right when Angie asks you. Sorry, no, I was just thinking, sorry. But, yeah, basically means thinking,
Well, I hope
I guess. I don't.
yeah, I'm not actually a teacher. Here's the embarrassing thing, because I've been a self-directing actor my whole life, so I haven't had to tell myself how to act, and I've never met anybody else who does this colour thing the same as I do. And he looks very excited about this because he hasn't met anybody who does this apart from him. And he brings out a piece of paper out of his pocket, and he's actually made a color chart for his feelings, and he's giving it to you, so that you can understand that
Oh,
when he's grey, he's incredibly depressed and sad. When he's orange, he's just like kind of eh. And when he's doing the glowing thing, he's either just like he's very emotionally charged up, whether it's happy or angry or whatever. And then there's a sort of tangential line to that, which is the pink thing, which is when he's in love. And he says like, well, this is as far as I can tell my spectrum. I'm not asking you to give me yours, although as you director, it actually might be helpful in the future, but we can talk about that later. I know it's very sensitive for you, and yeah. But just so you understand, like if you're ever watching some of my films and you see a colour change, you can like note down what I'm feeling if you're doing studies. Have you? I mean, I know, typical director ego question, but have you actually seen many of my films? I have to ask. And he's bracing himself for bad news.
oh, actually, it turns light pink. Like slowly, it turns light pink. Actually, I do have seen quite a lot of, maybe not all of them, but I've seen a lot of your movies actually.
He's got this sort of this smile on his face that started out as kind of small and hopeful, and now it's just really big, and he's glowing very lovely yellow color, and he just looks really pleased because he's had such a
Tobias
crappy
gets
month. He's had an awful month, so hearing this from you is
Tobias is no.
he's just very very pleased about this.
Uh, I just I I love the emotions you put in your movies. They're so great. They're actually what made me want to become an actor.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway.
you're joking. You're not being serious. And he's taken hold of your hands and he's like, "Are you actually saying that I inspired you to become an actor? Are you serious?"
Yes.
Oh, if I couldn't love you anymore. Oh, you are just giving me a reason to live today. Oh, that is marvelous. But you see, I wish I was a better teacher. And he's actually like pulling at his ears. He's like, I want to make you into the world's greatest actor. I know you've got it in you. Anybody who can face off with that amount of bravado against a 50-foot tall snake, you have got it, my lad. You are going to inherit the world, and I will make sure of that. But I've got to get it through to you. On the other hand, he like stops for a moment. He's like, well, we can fill you in black and white until you've got it down. Would you mind that?
Oh. I never thought about it. That that'd be great actually. Well, yeah, black and white seems good. Yeah.
What colour is he now?
Why not? uh, is he's actually turning yellow. Yeah, he's turning yellow.
Yay, the engineer knows what yellow
A bright
means.
one, not his gold, not his gold color, but bright yellow.
Oh, bless. Yeah, the engineer is like, well, I'll take that as a duly noted. We'll make that. Hey, that film we just made would look great if we did the first half in black and white and then it turned into colour for the train sequence. Oh, Tobias, you're a genius. Well, I'm a genius, but you inspired me to be a genius. So, we're both geniuses. Genii? Is that the plural for that word? I don't even know.
I don't know. Tobias is getting nervous. What is happening right now?
The engineer is having a brainstorm. That's what. But he's just he's fervently writing in something, and it just looks like a piece of paper. He's like, "This is the darndest thing. I used to have a notebook that I used to keep everything in, and I seem to have taken lost it. Ah, well, never mind. Maybe I'll find it somewhere around. Okay, duly noted. We'll do you and black and white until we've got this thing down, but we must get it down because you asked me to help you with it, and I will, or I'll die trying. Alright, so basically, when you're acting, you have to become not the person, but you have to become able to step aside from yourself to allow the person to be you. You're like a vessel, right? Like your body is going to inhabit someone who is going to do the acting. Like you are part of the process, but if you're immediately in the character, then your emotions are gonna get in the way of the characters. Am I starting to make sense?
No, I get what you're saying. Don't worry.
I'm gonna try and experiment with you. I mean, I think that the only way we're going to be able to do this is to practice. Okay. Shut your eyes. And are you going to shut your eyes?
Yes, sure.
Okay. You close your eyes. And you again, you hear like kind of scuttling all around you. It sounds like there's more than one person in here, but you presume it's just him moving around at a fervent speed. And you hear shink and psh, and there's definitely a floodlight on you. You can feel like the heat from it. And there's sort of like the sound of set being moved around. And he says, you are a young lad who wants to grow up to be a cowboy. What is your name? Don't think about it too hard. Just say the first name that comes to you.
Sam. Sam. I'm Sam.
Okay, that's your name then. And you feel something go hump onto your head, and you very reasonably can suppose that this is a cowboy hat. And you can feel this. You can feel this light on you, and it says, like, I just want you to think about that name and feel the weight of that hat on your head, and I want you to think that you are not Tobias. You are Tobias, but you're sort of gonna have to step to the left of yourself emotionally and let this person be under that hat. Like, if it helps, take in a breath through your nose. Go on, with me now. And then hold it for a second as you step sideways and then breathe out through your mouth. But the person who's breathing out through your mouth is not you. It is this young lad. And the reason he wants to be a cowboy, the reason you want to be a cowboy, is that you grow up greatly admiring your older sister Mary. And she works on a ranch as a cowgirl. She is stoic. She's hardworking, but she always makes time to talk to you and even play with you when she can. It's just been the two of you since your parents died of a sickness when you were 10 and she was 15. And what colour is Tobias at the moment?
At the last words of the engineer, he starts turning light blue.
That's very good. You're doing great. Okay, so Mary, she was your hero, and she proved to be a hard worker and a brave one, because unfortunately, like 4 years later, she tragically died during a fire that broke out in a barn, and she heroically was trapped in there trying to free the cattle who were trapped inside, but she was trampled by the panic-stricken herd of animals and perished in the flames. And what colour are you now?
He's starting to get a darker blue, like you would say 2 shades darker than this previous one.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he's very much impressed by this, but he doesn't want to break the spell. He says, okay, after the disaster, you were taken in by those that she was working for. 2 years on, You presently work for the very same ranch that she used to attend, and have done so under the care of me, Glenn. I'm your boss. An amicable but terse fellow and a highly respected member of the cattle trade community. And you feel your hand being shaken by the engineer's hand. He says, I took you under my wing shortly after the tragedy occurred and have been teaching you everything I know since then. And how do you feel? Like, what colour are you now? Are you there? Did I lose you? Am I talking to myself? Oh no! I've got no audio from Lewis. Oh. Technical difficulties during an emotional scene. This is always good for me. Oh shit. I can't actually hear you at the moment. Oh, she's logged out. She's logged back in. The tension is palpable. I can't hear a word. Ah, that's frustrating. Maybe it's me. Right, I'm going to reload my page and see if that works. Curses. I will have to edit the audio as well. Okay, I am back.
Can no one hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now! Okay, I have no idea whose end the problem was on. What was the last thing you heard? I'm so sorry.
It was near the handshake.
It was the what now?
Near the handshake of the engineer.
Yes, okay, so he's just given you a handshake, even though your eyes are shut and everything, and he's kind of fast-forwarded you to this point in time where you've been taken in by someone who owns the ranch that your sister used to work on. And how do you feel about this?
Is a very light color. It's actually almost white, and actually you could roll an insight roll for me.
Oh, okay. Fun. What the hell is my insight? I really ought to have that. Okay, it's a +4. That's not too bad. She says before she rolls really badly. Okay, 15.
Tobias has literally no emotions on his face. Like, you, no matter how hard you will look at his face, it has no emotion. And, like, you kind of see some color, but he's mostly white right now.
Okay, that makes sense. That does make sense. So he's just going to go with it. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so at this point, he lets go of your hand, and you can hear him back away, and this floodlight sort of dims a bit, and he's somewhere, but you're not quite sure where. And he says, "All right, I want you to gently open your eyes and have a look around you."
And he does look around him.
Okay.
But very slowly. He's kind of in a haze, actually.
So this person who you are kind of coexisting with right now opens their eyes, and you are in, amazingly, a sort of dark office. There are walls around you and Venetian blinds, and it is like you do feel like you're on a ranch. Like everything's kind of got that rustic feel, and in the scent of your imagination, you can probably smell hay because you're working on a ranch, and this is a kind of a home office situation. And there's a blue filter over the light, and he says, "It is night. You are supposed to be handling the transfer sale of some prize steers, but somehow you have managed to forget the paperwork. So you've come back to the ranch in the middle of the night and snuck into my office to find it without disturbing or disappointing me. And now I want you to look for those papers. So, roll investigation."
Ooh. Blame the scene.
12.
12.
Okay, you rummage about.
Actually,
and
Tobias is right now.
Sorry?
while he's looking. Uh, yes, it's purple while he's looking at everything. It's a light purple, but yes, still purple.
That makes sense. And that makes sense with the 12 because you're fervently looking everywhere and you cannot find these papers and you cannot find these papers. In fact, you cannot find these papers successfully. And you end up digging in a drawer and like push right at the back of it. You get kind of like you try and pull something out, but it's got stuck on something, and you pull it and you pull it, and it goes, and you pull out something that's like, it's nothing to do with what you're actually looking for, so you're disappointed with the object. But it got stuck on a neck scarf, and it looks like it's white with black flowers printed on it. And you hear the engineer from somewhere, saying, your sister always wore a particular neck scarf. It was white with black flowers. That scarf was naturally assumed to have been destroyed by the fire that she perished in, but you have just found that desk, and it was hidden away far in the back of a locked drawer in my office desk. And you hear a click behind you, and the engineer, who is not the engineer, it is Glenn, your boss, who has just walked into the office and found you. And what do you do?
Tobias is actually dark purple, as he has the scarf in his hand, and he slowly turns to look at his boss, and he slowly says, where did you get this scarf?
And he turns around and you hear another click, and you're pretty sure that was the key being turned in the lock. And he says, where do you think I found it?
I don't want to think about where you found it. I want to hear you say it.
Well, I've always found it to be a very undesirable quality in women, intelligence. And he's turned around, and there's some more subtle clicks going on because in his hand he is holding a pistol. And Tobias, you may want to note that this is a very realistic looking pistol. It looks very real. That does not look like a prop. And he is putting bullets into its chambers, and he says, she was always too clever for her own good. At least I gave her the courtesy of a heroic death, but you, well, I just happened to walk in on you, having broken into my office, trying to steal from my life savings, and, well, you just went berserk, didn't you? Oh, it's a real pity having to shoot you, and the shame you bring into your honourable sister by turning on me. And she was so honourable. And he closes the chamber and is starting to point that gun at you. He says, you see, she did find out a little bit too much about how much fun I'd been having selling cattle and then stealing them back without the owners realising, and then selling them their own cows back to them. Marvellous way to make a profit, especially if you can get the knack of rebranding. It's a real skill. But she just couldn't see the artistry in it, so I put her out of her misery, and I'll have to put you out of yours. And after I took you in and treated you like my own son. But don't you fret. Nobody will blame me for putting you out your misery. After all, I'm just acting in self-defense. And he's leveled the gun at you. This gun that looks very, very real. Give your sister my regards.
I do not want.
I think you need to roll dex, my friend.
I do not like this. Why would you do this to me?
Emotional response. Actually, in fact, yeah, as this happens, like, what color are you while you're rolling dex?
Tobias is the darkest purple you've ever seen. Literally, you've never seen him that purple. He almost blends in with the dark spaces of the bureau.
Ooh, fun. Oh, wow. That folks listening.
Oh, God.
That was a 22. I think that's a success, don't you? you
Oh, I do think so.
do you want to like describe your incredibly cool way of avoiding being shot?
You see, Tobias, he looks absolutely desperate. Like, he's gonna get shot by this man who he thought was his father, actually. And he immediately plunges behind the desk.
Excellent. Yeah, you do an amazingly cool roll, and you hear this gun go crack, and you hear something get hit by something, but it didn't hit you, and you hear a sort of oath muttered under his breath. What do you do now?
Immediately, Sam actually immediately tries to get one of the drawers, and he takes it into his hands as an improvised weapon.
Mm-hmm. Okay, are you gonna like roll to hit? Or like, are you gonna throw it at him? Are you gonna like try
Not
and...
right now.
Not right now. Ah.
I'm gonna sneak around. Like, stay behind the bureau, not in sight of my boss.
Okay, roll stealth, I think.
Ooh. Plus
An 18. Oh,
18.
you sneaky thing. Yeah, your boss, Glenn, is completely unaware of where you are, and in fact, he's kind of staying near the door, and from your very stealthy position, you see that he's like fumbling trying to find the light switch, but he can't find it. So you have a sort of advantage of play to do something if you want.
I'm thinking
World's most intense improv session.
you know what? I'm gonna make a little callback. You know, in Tobias' first game when Tully threw the table.
Yes! Oh my god!
I have a desk
Yeah,
next to me.
you do.
So I'm gonna actually push it, not throw it, because I can't do that.
Okay, I don't know what to do with that. A strength throw, I think? Maybe? Yeah, a strength roll?
I think that did it. But yeah, I'm gonna push it with all my strength
Yeah, just
towards Glenn.
go for it.
Let's see.
An 18.
18!
Okay, so here's some very good news for you. Because you are in a set right now, in a movie studio. Everything is made of like nothing. This desk is not a real desk. It's very shoddily made. It's not made of proper wood. And yeah, you actually surprise yourself by how strong you are. Do you want to describe what happens with this desk with an 18?
So when Sam hears Glenn trying to find the light, he knows he doesn't have that much time before Glenn finds and lighten up the room.
Mhm.
So he immediately stands up, grab the desk, and push it with all his might towards Glenn to try to trap him against the door.
Great. I think with an 18, I'm totally going to allow that. And you hear the not engineer go, and he's been pinned against the wall. And he has found the light switch, however, so he flicks it, and he says, "I won't hesitate, picnic," and fires at you again. And I think it's fair to say that that's his attack, so I'm actually going to roll to hit this time. A 17. He actually gets you in the shoulder, and you feel an impact. You take no damage. The gun is very real, the bullets are not, and it shatters, basically, on impact. So it kind of stings, it kind of feels like someone's hit you with a really hard ball bearing, and that's basically what it was. But, you know, you are in the moment, and your character has been shot. How does this character react?
He actually gasps and falls back on the floor because he did not think about the fact that Glenn could actually shot him after what he did. So, yeah, he falls on the floor, and you saw he was, when Glenn turned on the light, he could see Sam was dark orange, but then immediately after he falls to the floor, he's back to a dark purple.
Okay, that's great. Do you want to do anything else with your turn? Because he's still stuck, basically.
He's just... Yeah, he's got in the moment. He's just looking at his shoulder like, holy fucking peck.
Yeah, holy fucking peck. In that case, Glenn. In that case, Glenn is going to try and escape from the desk and make a strength save. 23. Oh dear. So he basically bursts out from under this desk. He like kicks it away from himself. It doesn't land on you because that would be evil. But yeah, he is free of this desk and is doing the slow cowboy walk towards you with this gun, and it's definitely going to fire again at you if you don't do something.
I think I still have my drawer.
Yeah, you do.
And I think I can throw it at him.
Awesome. Okay, I can't remember what the rules are for
that's the last thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's an improvised weapon, so you don't have proficiency with it, but I'm gonna give you like a +2 to hit, I think? Maybe? Try and beat him with a draw.
Oh, whatever you want, I don't know.
Yeah, well, either you can make me roll dex, or you can roll to hit. That's up to you.
Yeah, roll dex, actually.
Yeah? Okay, if you're sure. I mean,
Because it's still a prop, so it's not really gonna do damage.
That's fair enough, okay. Oh dear! Oh no, what a shame! I rolled a 7. Whoopsie doodle!
I see, you didn't see the drawer.
Okay, you want to describe what happens with this draw? This impending draw of doom?
So, Sam is trying to crawl a little back when he sees Glenn approaching him. And then he feels that he has still the drawer in hand, and not thinking, he throws it right at Glenn's end, where he has his pistol.
Yeah, excellent move. You totally knock the gun out of his hand, and he swears in birdies. Yeah, he actually says pluck. Yeah, he's sort of wincing because that hurt his hand, and now I think it is probably. I think both of you are gonna like actually. I suspect go for this gun which is skidded off over the floor. So shall we both roll dex?
Oh yes.
Yeah, like make it a competition. Okay, then 8. I think I'm gonna lose.
We could have a great scene.
The hero's got to win.
Wait, actually, I have a proficiency in dexterity. I didn't use it before.
A 9! Oh, that's wonderfully dramatic. How brilliant. So they're 1 point apart. In fact, like, you're both, like, struggling with each other, trying to get each other out of the way, and, like, you just get the gun before he does. And, what do you do now?
I tried to push him again with all the strength I have, really out of the way, like, really on the side. So he gets... because it's easier.
Yeah, great. I think actually, because this feels like the natural end of this scene, the engineer is just, as an actor, going to allow you to do this.
And, well, since you allow it, then I rush to grab the gun and immediately aim it at Glenn.
And Yeah, do you say anything? I mean, the hero has the gun and is pointing it at the villain. What do you do?
Oh no, he doesn't say anything. He wants to see what Glenn is going to do.
Uh, Glenn looks horrified for a moment and then smiles. And it isn't Glenn that's smiling. It's actually the engineer who's smiling at you.
Oh.
And he turns slightly and gets something off a shelf that's next to him, and it's a mirror. And he holds it up. And what colour do you see in the mirror?
Tobias is once again his darkest orange, and the first few seconds when he looks at the mirror, Tobias can see that he has a really confident emotion, a really confident face, and when he realizes that, yeah, no, it's finished. He's Tobias again. Then he fades lightly, like he's still confident, but it's very lighter purple. No, orange.
I was going to say purple. No, you did well, Tobias.
No, not purple. No, he's still orange, but he's coming out again. He's coming out of the egg.
Yeah, the engineer says, and scene. That was belting. You did great. I mean, you couldn't see your colour, and I was hoping you weren't thinking about that, but you did exactly what I did in those films. You can use your colour. This could be one of your greatest assets as an actor.
Okay, so Tobias stands up, goes to the mirror, looks at it for a second, and then he turns towards the engineer, and he says in a small voice, "I did it." And then, before you can say anything, it turns blue, and you recognize that blue.
Oh, hell.
Actually.
Oh, my. Yeah, okay.
And so right now he's still, I did it. I actually did it. And engineer, I think you should make a wisdom saving throw, actually.
I think you're right.
No?
I think I should. Oh, dear. Those who are listening who have listened to Taffy Trade will understand why he's making a wisdom save. 21, are you joking? A nat 20 on this? Jeez. Okay.
Whoa.
Well, he manages to hang it together, and I don't get to use the cool piece of art for, like, if he didn't, which is annoying because I drew it. Like, inside, he is going through every level of hell right now, but I guess 40 years as a professional actor will do it, and he manages to step back into Glenn for long enough to ride out this wash of emotion that just hits him when he sees the colour of his deceased UPA friend, who was called Victor Tim, which is a terrible joke name, and I hate it now because it was such a tragic thing to do to him. But bless him. So yeah, with the 21 though, you don't even register that something has gone awry inside the engineer. And he just...
Tobias is still thinking about the fact that, yeah, he did it.
He did
actually, well, control his colors. He didn't really actually control them, but he's still into it. So he doesn't notice anything.
Yeah. The engineer manages to recover before you notice that anything was needed to be recovered from, and he just pats you on the arm and says, I think that's been quite a productive lesson. I think you've got quite a lot to mull over and work on, but I think the main thing is to not worry about this too much. You have got everything you need in here. And he gives you an almost painful pointy jab in the chest. It's a bit of a side effect of having talons. He didn't mean to hurt you, but yeah, he's saying like you've got everything you need in you. He's just here to help facilitate that.
Tobias just looks at the engineer. He doesn't even register the the small pain and he turns into his gold color and just thank you, sir. Thank you. he, you see, you know what? Roll insight. You see how he feels.
Okay. I've just done that. It's like a +4 or something, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I'm doing really good at keeping track of my own stuff. A 19.
Yay! That's great. Okay, so you see, he wants to ask the engineer but he's too shy too.
Oh, that's so cute. He says, "Oh, none of that. Come here, you," and gives you a fairly bone-crushing hug. In fact, I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Sorry. I actually have a -1 in Constitution.
Oh dear, do I kill the bard by hugging him?
I can't believe Tobias is dead.
R.I.P. Oh my god! A 2! Oh my god! I just killed Tobias. Okay, yeah, I think the only way to play this is you have a big comedic Toonish hug and you hear something go crack. Oh my gosh. And the engineer's like, okay, let's call it a day. Hang on. Does anybody have cure wounds?
It's good, it's all fine.
Medic! And I think this is how the scene ends, is you leaning on top of the engineer while he like staggers you towards the A studio to like try and find someone to fix you because he just hugged you so hard he broke a rib. Oh,
Tobias
no.
is still gold. It doesn't change.
Marvelous, wonderful, beautiful. I think that's the best way we can leave this scene. I don't think there's anything else we can do with that.
Oh my god. We tried the angst, it didn't work.
No, I think the dice knew we just wanted to have a happy ending today, which suits me just fine. That was adorable and lovely. And yeah, you did really good. I hope you had a good time playing.
I did actually.
Yay!
That was very good. Thank you.
Yeah, I needed that too. This was awesome. Okay, so that was the first of what will presumably be 3 acting lessons. I'm still working on Marches and Lucky Jacks, but we'll get back to those too. And this was Toonkind 12 frames per second. Yeah, I'm excited to see those guys again. I love everybody so much. All the Toonkind characters are so good. I love all the players on this server. Is there anything you want to add to this? Like maybe a post-credit scene with Tobias back at home thinking about his achievements today? I don't know.
For the next 3 days, Tobias is gold, literally.
Oh.
He will not change.
Oh, I might actually cry. That's so cute. Oh my gosh. That's so good. And like
so happy.
So good. And needless to say, like the engineer is so proud, and he's actually started reading books on like how to teach people because he's never really had to do this before. Like being a director and being a teacher are 2 different things. So like he's got like the Teaching for Dummies book. He's putting in the hours. He's trying his best.
Oh, thank you. And
no, it was my pleasure entirely, and I'm sorry about the audio cutting out a few times, but I don't think it disrupted it too much. It's fine.
No, maybe it was my fault too. I don't know.
It
I
was
think
the.
it's Discord. Discord doesn't like us.
I think it was Discord. Like, it does cut out sometimes. Or poltergeists. The Zephyrs did it. Anyway, okay. I think we can stop here. So, yeah, thank you guys for listening. This was lovely.
Yay.
I hope there's lots of you going, because I'm going like that inside right now. So cute. Oh, boy. Okay, I'll stop the recording now. Okay, goodbye, everybody.